Hi. I know I haven't been on in a while, but I just have something to say. Um, there is some discrepancy, and I just want to get it on record, especially I'm going to have it live. I was told I can only have one visitor, and actually it's not even what I was told, it's their policy. But this white old guy has two. He has two visitors. I guess he's special, and I'm not. And they made my guests leave. I'm in Davita, and that's just the first of many complaints that I intend on going live about as many times as I goddamn well please. Because I don't appreciate being shitted on and told it's rain. So yeah, this guy has two visitors in the center right now, and I was told, and the policy states, I'm not going to say I was told, policy states you're only permitted to have one visitor. Yet my one visitor was thrown out for no reason at all. At all. But this guy's got two. Two. So we see that. Two people in white coats. That's two visitors. And my one guest was told they had to leave. Am I pissed off? Absolutely. Definitely. Hi, party people. Yeah, bitches, you know I'm back. You know I'm back. I was going to leave, and I had to take a pause because I had some personal issues I had to take care of. But you know what? I'm not going to stop fighting for my rights and the rights of others. And I'm definitely not going to be quiet in the face of social injustice. And I don't care if it's a small thing of having two visitors. But my visitor was told to leave. I don't give a fuck, and I hope everybody sees this. So I guess I'm not white enough for the privilege of having two guests. They should put that in their policy. Davita should put that in their policy. But they didn't. And they're not. And I'm really mad right now. This is my mad face. You know what's crazy? Is that I am crazy. And when people have a mad face that actually looks like a happy face and they're laughing, you should be really afraid. You should be really, really goddamn afraid. Yeah. So yeah, I'm still pissed because they're still there. And how long is this video? And it took me a while to log on because I had deactivated my account. So I had to go into my account and get it all reactivated so that I could hold this live video because it's totally worth having. So as we're speaking, they're still there. Still there. Two guests. Two. We have two guests. I'm going to go can you see them? Can you see my guests? Yeah, two. See the two ladies in the white coats? They're not techs. They are guests of the gentleman that is there. And yes, it pisses me off severely because the policy states they're only supposed to have one. And I was thrown the policy and when he broke not one rule of the policy being my guest, I am going to bring race into this, Miss Felicia Parsons, because I am in a predominantly white area right now, and I'll explain to you later. And my Spanish ass, if you look around, is the only Spanish ass. The only people of color here are the people that if any, are people that work here. But I'm going to put race into it because it matters. If it didn't matter, I wouldn't bring it in. And it does matter because it's true. Fresenius, yes, Felicia James, Fresenius does not allow any visitors. But Davita does, and they do have a policy that allows you to have one guest per session. You have to notify them of your one guest. Okay, so their guest just left, so whatever. But I wanted to capture that on live video because they gave me such a hard time for my one guest that was not even here for 10 minutes. I don't like bringing race, but race let's not be quiet about it. It happens. It is what it is. There's racial injustices, there's social injustices, and they exist today in 2019, and everybody wants to hush and be quiet about it, but you know what? That doesn't get anything changed just because you're quiet about it. There's plenty of quiet racists in the world, and Donald Trump gave them a platform to be loud. So let's be real here. Was it ever something that wasn't there? Or was it there because people were quiet about it? It was still there. No, those motherfuckers don't work here, okay? They don't work here. They were guests of a gentleman that is here. They were his two guests. Two little ladies, old ladies. I guess because they're old, does that make them harmless? No. I don't give them a pass because they're old. Nobody gets a pass. If a policy is a policy, if you're going to enforce it on one, you enforce it on all. If one person's allowed to break the rule, then everybody should be allowed to break the rule. It's just simple fairness. So that's how I feel about that, and I'm glad that I captured it live, so but nobody can say it didn't happen, and they can't say it's just my imagination. I'm not going to, film it here and have it be scrutinized later that maybe it's not real or maybe it's been tampered with or changed or whatever. Technology changed, but it wasn't. Exactly, Ron Washington. Wrong color, sis. Like I said, if I was not me, I would have been allowed my guests to sit in peace, but I wasn't allowed that. And this guy's got two guests, which is against policy. And I went in the back and I talked to the facility administrator or designated person to speak to, and they again threw the book in my face and the rules. And that's okay. I said, I'm not here to break the rules. But then, like I said, I sit here and then this dude is over here breaking the rules. And yes, it pisses me off. So yeah, there's going to be many of these videos, and I'm definitely going to continue on my legacy of bringing you the real, bringing you what's raw and uncut in this industry that is so corrupted. So corrupted. I watch my back because I don't trust nobody. I got to be watching my machine and shit. Okay? So anyway, what's real and what's uncut. Because you know what? There's things that people don't want to talk about, but I'm going to talk about it. That's that. I'm not apologizing for it either. And yeah, exactly, Ron. Yes, it is there, but it was always there and always will be. Yeah, it will be. It's a little bit less. We have a lot more rights, but it's still there. And people have this thing where they socially segregate themselves. Segregation is still there too, but it's just done in a social setting. But people naturally do that. They naturally self-segregate. And I'm in an area where it's self-segregated. And there's some benefits about it, but like I said, it still doesn't change the fact that people have this thing where they self-segregate. They do that. And with that comes... Check out my blood pressure?
No, what happened was the arterial, you see, right here.
Ugh, turn around.
Yeah, just a little bit.
It's sorry, I had to go live because that gentleman had two guests. And that's against policy. And they gave me a hard time about my one guest.
Okay.
But then he had two guests, which is against policy completely.
Okay.
I followed the policy completely, and he broke it. And even if it was for 5 seconds, he still broke it.
Okay.
And yes, I'm pissed about it. Because if it was me, I would have been thrown out with the book in my face. And it's already happened. I didn't hear anybody saying anything about that. And yes, I'm saying that. Un-fucking believable. Can't believe it. Unbelievable. I'm transferring centers. I don't even want to be here. I'm going to switch centers. or just push for that home hemo because I don't want to be in this place. Oh, good news, guys, and all my fans and everybody out there watching. I did have a fistula placed in February, and but it wasn't, there was some complications with it where my vein wasn't to the surface enough, so I had to have a second surgery done to open a vascular surgery done where I don't know if anybody else has had that. I mean, wave your hand if you have, but I had to have 2 surgeries to my fistula. So the second part, they opened me up, and I'll show you my beautiful scars. Yes, it hurt like a pain in the bitch. Yes, it did. It hurt. It still hurts sometimes, but it doesn't hurt that bad. I still have my staples. I have about 31 staples in. And, as bad as I didn't want to do it, and as much as I didn't want to do it, I'd rather do it than go through what I just went through, which was, I got an infection in one of my catheters. I say one of because I had so many at this point. But I had an infection. One I got replaced because it stopped working, or the filter got clogged. The second one, I got an infection. Oh, let me see who's watching. Hi. Hey, everybody. Yes, Felicia, he did sound nonchalant. You know why? Because he doesn't want to get into it with me. Because he was here yesterday when they approached my guest and told him he had to leave. But yet this person over here is breaking the rules and having 2 guests. You're not supposed to have 2. You're only permitted to have 1, which is in the policy. And before I disputed anything, I made sure I asked for a copy of the policy. So I encourage anyone, if you do have a discrepancy with something, ask for the policy. That way you can approach it professionally and they can't say this or that. No, it's in your policy and you're breaking policy. It's in your policy, you're breaking policy. And I say that nonchalantly. Anyway, so yeah, I had to have a second part of my surgery. And when I did do that, my goal basically is to not be in this center and try to get home hemo as soon as possible. Oh, Tyrone. Hi. Okay, so I'll tell you what happened. So I basically got the catheter. Oh, wait. Tyrone, what do you mean by what happened? Are you talking about why I'm having this video or what happened with my catheter? Because I had to hop on for a reason. Yes. So I'll wait for your response, but in the meantime, I'll finish what I was saying about my catheter. So I had an infection there, and it was a very small infection, but nothing's small when it's in your blood. Basically, it wasn't MRSA or staph. It was a type of bacteria that's common. It's on everybody's skin. It's on the surface of everybody's skin, and it's very common and it's very harmless, but it can be harmful if it gets into your catheter. So it did, and guess where? Davita. I hate that name. Anyway, I was in another Davita center, not this center in particular, but another Davita, and that's when I contracted this infection. I had to stay in the hospital and have that catheter removed. First, they did a dialysis session, which was brutal because it kept clogging, but they were trying to get a session in before they took it out, because when they take it out, they basically stop your sessions for about a week because you have to be on antibiotics. Well, in my case, everybody's different. My particular infection was that. He was about to go off on someone in the beginning of the video. Oh, yes, Tyra. I'm trying to be very politely quiet. So I wasn't going off on anyone. I was just being... I first hopped on because the day before yesterday, during treatment, my guest was sent out, and I asked, for the policy or whatever, and we followed every rule. But today I noticed that a gentleman across from me has 2 guests come in, and I don't care if it was for 5 seconds. That's not policy. Policy is 1 guest. So I was just pointing it out because why not? If you're going to enforce a rule, enforce the rules. Don't pick and choose who you're going to enforce the rules to. So that's what they did. But that's the least of my worries. They can't tell me to get off live. They can suck my whole dick, literally. They can't tell me to do what to do with my private device. And if they do, guess who's calling the police? Me. This girl right here. Yeah, so this is my only defense, really. My only proof that they had two people here. And that would be my reason. And if I got off this live, I already got my evidence. You have two people in here, and that's my reason for making that public. I will never do it. I don't do what people tell me. You don't get anywhere by doing everything that you're told. It's not against HIPAA law. Just like it's not against HIPAA law, allegedly, the way that these dialysis centers are set up, which is there's no curtain. I'm not in a private little room. I am in a row, okay, with the next person and the next person next to me. So therefore, if a doctor was to come in, I can hear everybody's business and they can hear mine. So HIPAA law, SHPIPA law, my balls, okay? Because there is no protection of my HIPAA privacy because I'm not in a private room. And there's nothing private about this setup. Felicia, listen, I love you, girl, but there's so much you don't know about this industry. It is a for-profit. Actually, it's for-profit. It's not ran like a medical facility, but that's the way it is, you know. So it's not. There's a lot you don't know about it, and I'm sure as you read these comments, you'll see, you know, other people, other warriors that are going through this, that they understand that there's really, HIPAA sounds great and all, but it's no HIPAA privacy because you're not actually in a private room. Nothing's private. You're on a line like a conveyor belt hooked up to a machine. And these are the only options you have unless you do in your home hemo. The only way you have actual privacy is if you have in-home dialysis done. Modality is the word they use. Modality options, like PD or hemodialysis. So if you're doing something like that, yeah, then you have some privacy as far as HIPAA is concerned. But in the clinics, it's like they eat, sleep, and breathe in their own rule book. It's a business. It's a corporate business. It's for profit. It's a business, and everybody needs to know that. And even you know. Exactly. So like I said, there are no HIPAA laws. You can show other patients. There's no walls here. There's no walls here. And there's nothing that separates me from the next patient. This is a very different environment. So yeah. I have the right to protect myself just like a cop wears a body cam. I have the right to protect myself in any way that I can because the shit that goes down in here, it can be real. Not saying this center in particular, but you need to watch the Oxygen live. You need to watch the Oxygen special. Oxygen. I'll put it in my comments when I get off of here. But there's Oxygen specials that can break it down a little further for you so you can understand that there is no privacy here. There's none. And this is happening all over the United States and in the world. This disease affects 1 billion people in the worldwide. It affects 500,000 in the United States alone. So it's weird to me that so many people don't know what this is, what this treatment is, what this disease is, because nobody talks about it. It's the unspoken elephant in the room. That's not fair. That's not fair. And I hate to throw race in there again, but it affects a majority of blacks and Hispanics. I just happen to be in a center that's predominantly white because of where I'm at. But it predominantly, the vast majority of patients that are on dialysis are Black and Hispanic. As far as the social economic injustice, yes, it's real. It's real. And I'm going to say social economics. It doesn't have to be race. Social economic status doesn't have to do with race, but it does separate a vast majority of races. It naturally segregates. However, like I said, the social economic status of most patients is not the upper class. It's not the upper class. And like I said, the centers, Davita being basically monopolizing this situation. And I know some of you already know this. I had words with the floater for trying to change my dressing twice without changing her gloves. Hello, thank you. I was in the hospital for 2 weeks because somebody just maybe have skipped one step. One step. You skip one step and I'm in the hospital. In pain, suffering, getting multiple surgeries, catheters stuck in and out of my chest. Just because you didn't do one step. Yes, exactly. So forgive me for giving a shit about myself. Sorry, not sorry. I care about me. And it's not personal. It's just, hey. It's a matter of saying, hey, you skipped that step. Wouldn't you mind? And you know, people are going to get feelings about it, but I don't care. I don't care. I know everything about it. My grandfather went through it for 2 years, and he didn't have any special white privilege like you're saying. That's happening there. That's for sure. Okay, so did you go to every treatment with your grandfather? Did you sit in as a guest with your grandfather? Was your grandfather able to speak up for himself? Did he care about himself in the end? If he's still alive. I'm not saying he is or isn't, I don't know. But these are all questions you need to ask yourself. And Felicia, you're also in Atlantic City. I know the area where you're at. So, you know, there are centers that are more or less black and white based on the area in which he got dialyzed. If he went out to Mays Landing, guess what? He could have went to Atlantic City. There's a Fresenius in Atlantic City, but I bet you he didn't. I bet you he went to Mays Landing. And why? Because it's a better facility. Why? Because of the social economic status. All those questions answered. I don't know. I don't know what he did, but I will tell you that if it's happening, if he didn't receive any special things, I mean, like I said, if you were there and you were able to fully witness how he was treated, I'm not saying he may have been treated well. I don't know. I'm not saying it's speaking for every single place, but there are a lot of places, and it's not that they're maliciously targeting you. It's that sometimes the companies, the higher up, the corporate situation is cutting corners in ways that are not beneficial to a patient. It's not necessarily the maliciousness of a tech or somebody, whatever. But the fact is, the facts are the facts. The corner's being cut. Exactly, Felicia. Yes. So yeah, you can't, you don't have to care about somebody's attitude. This is your life on the line. So it pays to be an advocate for yourself, and it pays to speak up for things when you see them happening wrong. Speak up for yourself. Because nobody's going to take care of you like you. And guess what? My tech told me that. My tech is pretty awesome. Not going to lie. I have a pretty awesome tech. And even his opinion was, I'm not going to say who he is or anything. I'll protect his privacy. But even his opinion was, always, take care of you, because nobody takes care of you like you. That's anywhere in life. That's life. It's just a life lesson. Okay, guys. Well, I feel like I've expressed myself fully, and I feel very good about it. And I will not be giving up on this anytime soon. I didn't even invite anyone. That's how adamant I was about getting my message across today. Usually I'm more calculated, but this was something on random that's raw, uncut, and real. Definitely dialysis related. Definitely kidney talk with Tanya kind of material. So, stay encouraged. Give out some free hugs, everybody. Especially my warriors out there. Check on your strong friends. I love you guys. I love you all. And it's good to be back. It's good to be stable and back. Because I went through quite some unstable things, which I'll probably, maybe, if I feel like it, I'll share it with you guys. All right.